So as we secure our environment, and IT is an integral part of it, we've got to take a much larger view of our strategies going forward, and greening is one part of it. So when it comes to green IT, it has to be seen in the context of our overarching strategy of saving energy, saving cost, making our environment more cost effective, and ultimately very secure.
There are really two main areas where IT can be green. One is in improving the performance and characteristics of the products themselves, the IT products that are used, and the other is all the beneficial impacts that IT can have on other processes, so energy management, running HVAC systems, improving commuting patterns, allowing people to telecommute. There are a lot of very beneficial impacts that IT can have towards greening state government and state operations. And what you want to do is just make sure that those two areas converge, so you get the greenest products possible and then use them to green the rest of your state operations.
EPEAT is a purchasing effort that takes attributes, a variety of attributes of computers, packaging, hazardous material, toxic waste, energy consumption, reuse, recyclability. It has a variety of attributes, and it's built a criteria that then applies these standards, and it has 3 different classifications: bronze, silver, or gold. And if a purchaser buys a product with one of those classifications, they're assured of getting a product that's going to meet Energy Star 4.0 requirements for energy efficiency. It's going to be a product that has been manufactured in a way that reduces its carbon footprint in the manufacture, reduces the toxins, reduces the hazardous material in it. So it's a good way for anybody to buy a computer product and feel assured that they're getting something that is going to be environmentally responsible and reduce their greenhouse gas emissions.
What's interesting is that this is not just about IT. IT is clearly involved, but here are some numbers. 40% of all greenhouse gas emissions come from transportation. 25% come from buildings, heating them, cooling them, keeping them lit. So you can see that we have to look across the board. We have to look at how we do transportation, the issue of alternative fuels, the fuel efficiency of vehicles, how we manage the efficiency of our buildings. So it kind of pervades everything, but the beauty of it is that IT is involved in every step of it.
From an IT perspective, we have seen a massive shift to virtualization, which has an incredible reduction in power demand in the data center. We're seeing 10 and 12 to 1 kinds of ratios for a reduction of equipment in data centers. We're now starting to look dramatically beyond that to virtualization at the desktop. And now we're starting to ask the question whether or not we should have the servers at all, or whether or not we should be sharing those with larger entities who are really in that kind of a business.
I think another thing is to help drive the efficiency of IT throughout the organization. And by that I mean looking at hardware vendors. What are their strategies for asset disposal? Are they using clean manufacturing techniques? I think another is to look at software vendors. Are they developing and architecting and designing software that runs efficiently on platforms? I think when we build our infrastructure, when Kansas builds its infrastructure, whether it's telecommunications or data centers, are we doing it with eco-friendly materials? And I think one important place that we can have an effect on energy conservation is through the use of the enterprise architecture. And the CIO plays a role in developing that enterprise architecture, and that can drive standards for energy efficiency in the state.
One major initiative through an executive order is through power management, all the way from our facilities to our equipment. In the past 6 years, Michigan has reduced its energy savings by 18%, a reduction of $21 million. If you take a look at that, that actually is enough to light and heat about 8,400 households for an entire year.
Governor Ritter also recently signed into law consolidation legislation, which really allows us to move in the direction. It has a natural alignment with reducing the carbon footprint of our IT infrastructure, and that we're going to be reducing the number of data centers. We recently conducted a third-party study and determined that the state of Colorado has 39 data centers in its government infrastructure, and that's probably about 36 too many. So as we move in the direction of building out 2 or 3 resilient data centers, it's going to have a natural cause and effect to reduce the number of servers, reduce the amount of cooling and heating that's required, reduce the amount of physical storage, and as we move in that direction, we'll be able to greatly reduce the power demands of our IT infrastructure in the state of Colorado.
The state of California has a comprehensive program to address both emissions by non-state entities as well as emissions by state organizations. We've set a goal to reduce global greenhouse gas emissions by state entities by 2 million metric tons per year by 2020. Some of the ways we're going to do that include increasing the energy efficiency of the state's IT infrastructure, as well as changing the work habits, moving to things like telework, promoting the use of mass transportation, as well as really driving service improvements through the use of technology.
So we work 4 10s instead of 5 8s, and they are, except for some exempted services like law enforcement, state mental hospital, the state data center, all offices are closed, and that's the reason why we can save those energy costs. The buildings are closed and there is no heating or cooling of those buildings on that 5th day.
For more information on how your estate can go green, contact NASCIO at nascio.org. Funding for this NASCIO video was provided by Adobe Systems, BDNA, CGI, Citrix Systems, HP, Intel, Microsoft, Symantec, Unisys, and Verizon Business.